environment. You need to understand the people going on around you, and then you need to understand where you fit into that environment, and then moving forward that way.
Yeah. I think a lot of living in a dorm is just also just being considerate of the person next to you, and hoping they do the same with you.
Yeah.
But I think that's the biggest thing is just being considerate, and also, like you said, understanding that everyone's going to do things differently. Like some people, and that's the hard part, some people are night owls. They're just going to study through the night, where you prefer to sleep and rather wake up early in the morning. And so kind of just adjusting to that. But I think the biggest thing is just communicating with people and being like, hey, these are things I like when living with someone else. These are things I don't. And having that, like, air it out right in the beginning, so everyone knows, everyone's on the same page, makes it, super easy. But yeah, I think a dorm experience is like, you have so many memories from it. Like it's good and bad. Like you just never know how it's going to go. But I think that it's so pivotal. And I think it's such a key part of like studying, overseas, because you make friends really easy. Like, I mean, even for you,
Yes.
you said in a frat house, like that was so easy for you to make friends, and brothers essentially that you could have 10, 15, 20 years from now. And so I always love the idea of staying on campus, being involved in it, as many things as possible, and getting that full university and college experience.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. I was going to ask you, did you ever work on campus or in any capacity like that, or you just mainly, obviously, just a full-time student?
I work on campus, so I've done research on campus. I'm doing my honors project on campus this upcoming semester, and I work in the chemistry department as the stock boy, just like analyzing, looking at chemicals, and then I am an orgo prep TA.
Oh, awesome.
So I prep all the reactions and things for organic chemistry.
Yeah.
Just because you get there and you're like, well, I'm here, and people are like, you want to go out, and you're like, I don't have money to spend, and you're like, and then they're like, well, why don't you have money? And you're like, because I'm relying on my parents. And you're like, that's like the worst line ever.
Yeah.
So it's like I got to find a job so you can
Yeah.
you earn your own money, and then you're like, okay, I feel better about myself now. It's like I can spend my money.
Yeah. Just for people who don't know, so TA is a teacher's assistant.
Yes.
Obviously we're not very familiar with those in South Africa, but I think I worked a job on campus as well. And I think just what you said, the fact that you can earn your own money and spend it the way you want, is the hugest benefit ever. But I also think though, like for me, the biggest thing was like, I think for you, it's still in line with your major. So it's still in line with what you're studying, but there's so many different things you can do on campus to find a job. And I think, and maybe Tevo'n, you can even speak to this, but earning your own cash, I think also in dollars is a lot better than your parents sending you money and losing that value for money
Yeah.
through the exchange. And I don't know, have you like traveled, like what have you kind of done besides like, things around campus? Have you seen, more of the United States, or have you mainly just stayed within the New York area?
So I've seen more of the States. I've been to Washington. I've been to New York. Those are the main two places where I've been since I've been studying.
Yeah.
But I went to the States previously, so like I've been to other parts of the
Yeah.
States. But during my time studying, it's mainly been New York, Washington, like those type of areas.
Yeah.
Going down to the beach in New Jersey, like those type of things.
That's cool.
Um,
And then
yeah, but
when have you over the last 3 years, you're obviously going into your senior year right now, in terms of family, like when have you come back to visit? Have they come and visited you, or have you basically just stayed there over the last 3 years?
so I come back to visit. I usually come back for December period, just to like have Christmas, because
Yeah.
I like having Christmas with my family. And I have a couple of like some very close family friends that we usually do like a get together on the 26th and things like
Yeah.
that. So I like coming back for that and just like having time with my family and being like, hey, your child is still here. Because I think
Remind
I
them.
think I think I think that can happen where like there becomes a disparity between you and your family, because it's like your family doesn't see you anymore.
Yeah.
And you're just like, well, what's happening? And then I usually try and come back for the summers.
Yeah.
But I try and keep myself as busy as possible.
Mm.
And sometimes over the summers, I'm doing like a program for research, or I'm working a summer job,
Yeah.
or like I'm stuck here because of COVID, but things like that.
That's
But I
2020.
try it. Yeah, I try and come back just so that, you give your family sound of mind, being like, hey, I'm still here.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going anywhere. Like, you can still see me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then my mom and dad absolutely, they love the US. They save money, and they're like, okay, we're gonna go. Um, and they originally when I went over, they went and they explored New York, explored Washington to like a certain extent, and they
Yeah.
like had a look around, things like that. And then for my 21st birthday, they came and surprised me
Oh,
with the help of my girlfriend.
that's
Yeah,
awesome.
they came and they surprised me, and it was that was very nice. And they again went and explored New York, and they were like, we're going to be more in detail, and like, we're going to go look at the USS Intrepid, and it was like, we're going to go do this. So they love the US.
Yeah.
They want to move here,
Oh,
so
wow. Okay.
they absolutely love it.
That's awesome.
So they're like, every chance we get, we'll be there. So
I love that like they got to see a part of like where you've spent, I'm not saying a large majority of your life, but I think very key moments, like after high
yeah,
school, I think once you get to university, for me at least, and I'm sure you can say the same, but and university is where you make your friends for life. It's where you figure out a lot more of who you are as a person, especially when you're on your own. There's a lot of independence and growth and maturity that comes with studying abroad. So I love that you've
yes,
got to kind of bring them on, your journey and kind of show them around. And the reason I asked like the question about traveling and being home and things like that is we kind of started the conversation with, this idea of being away from family the first couple of, month and a half, 6 weeks. It's tough, but they can always come and visit and you can always go home. But I love the idea that you also got to see more parts of the US and, go to Washington. Washington, I've been there as well. It's incredibly beautiful. There's a lot of history. There's a lot to do. There's a lot of walking because everything's very far away from each other. Um,
yeah,
it's actually quite crazy, but I always encourage students, see as much as you can where you are, like expand, go into the areas that are surrounding, and explore this new place that you will temporarily call home for. And if that's permanent, that's great, but like see more than just your campus. There's a lot out there, and the US is huge. Go to the West Coast, go see California, wherever you can. But yeah, I love that you got to do that. And I was going to ask, you're kind of approaching senior year, which it's a lot of emotions because it's like, oh my goodness, it's my final year of university. But then you're also thinking, post grad, like, do I want to continue studying? Do I want to come back home? So maybe tell people watching this video kind of what are you thinking for after university?
so my plans after Moravian are to go to med school. So that in its own regard in the US is its own headache, because there are so many loopholes and things to jump through, and exams to take, and interviews to prep for, and do
Yeah,
this and do that. So there's so many things that you need to do. But um I wasn't always set on just like, I'm gonna go to Moravian, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna go to med school straight afterwards. I think a lot of me going to med school is about the growth that we talked about.
yeah,
It's just like, because originally I was like, I'm going to become a chemical engineer, and then I was like, no, that doesn't suit me anymore. And then you're kind of just like, well, I know my majors, and it's like, so
yeah,
I'm sticking with these two majors for the next 2 years, and then you get to it, and you're like, well, med school doesn't sound like a bad idea.
yeah.
So that's kind of my plan. So I'm going to med school afterwards, and I'm going to stick with that. And then I'm planning to stay in the US for like the rest of my life. So
Amazing.
that's
Awesome.
yeah, that's the plan. I've set up such a great friend basis here, and
Yeah,
I've met so many great people here, and I've made such good contact with professors and
yeah,
other people outside the university and everything like that. That it's just like, it makes sense to me to just like stay here.
yeah.
So It's just like you grow, you grow with the place that you're in, and then it's just like eventually you're just like, this clicks. It's just like,
Yeah.
this makes more sense for me to be here than anywhere else.
Wow, I love that. I love that. And you, when you've been applying for med school, because I know you've taken your MCAT, and you've obviously been looking at med schools, are you set on the New York area, or are you kind of willing to go anywhere else in the United States, since there are so many different medical school programs all over the country?
Yeah. So there's a large basis for the med school. So it depends on the kind of situation you want to be around.
Yeah.
So like, do you want to be in a relaxed area? Do you want to be like sitting in the middle of New York, going to like the Lennox Hospital? Like, what do you want to do? So I haven't put my foot down on like the specific place yet, but I know I want to be more situated towards the city area as opposed to like in the middle of the country.
Yeah.
So so because I had an opportunity a while back, to go to Australia and see their healthcare system.
Oh wow.
And their healthcare system is like, yeah, you got to like go into the outback. And I was like,
No.
damn, that's rural. So since I came back from them, I was like, yeah, I want to be more situated in the city area, because like there's
Yeah.
people around me and I can just like walk down the street, have a conversation.
There's like a
So
restaurant I can go to that's down the road, like
yeah,
no
it's
no
just,
public transport.
yeah. So I know I'm set on a city area, but I'm not
Yeah.
100% sure as to which place at the moment.
Okay, awesome. But you still got time. I mean, you still got your basically the whole of your senior year, so more than enough time
Yeah.
to do that. Maybe just to end us off, if you could give maybe a student that's just, maybe we can take this two ways. Maybe a student that's on the fringes and trying to decide if they want to go overseas. If you could give them advice, and then maybe as a part two, a student who's already been accepted, is already part of WSAS, and is very excited. What can you give them? So maybe we can start with a student who's not 100% sure about studying abroad. What would you say to them?
Yeah, for not being 100% sure on studying abroad, I 10 out of 10 recommend it.
Mm,
It gives you a new perspective. It gives you a new perspective on yourself. It gives you a new perspective on life. It gives you a chance to make new friends and to just like explore the way you want to live your life. And it allows you to become your own person.
mm,
And it grows you so much more than if you're at home, or like you go into university where you're like, hey, these are the same friends I had in high school, I now have in university.
yeah.
It grows you. It makes you a person, and be like, I now know what group I want to fit in. I know how I want to move forward.
Mm,
So I 10 out of 10 recommend going. And the opportunities that you get outside of your own country is like amazing.
yeah.
And and because inside certain instances you're like, I'm only here for 4 years, or I'm only here for three
Yeah.
5 years. So you're like, I have these opportunities, I'm going to grab them and I'm going to run with them. So it makes you more opportunistic as well, to just like grab something and go for
Yeah. That's
it.
incredible.
So that's for a person who's not sure. For a person that's excited to come overseas and just like start going with it, like it's a it's a wild ride. I'm not gonna
Be prepared.
I'm not gonna I'm not gonna say you're gonna get here and it's gonna be like, woo, let's do this first day out, I'm gonna just like whack it out of the park. No, that's not how it works. Like it's a roller coaster. You have your ups, you have your downs,
Mm,
but you definitely keep the excitement, and you just gotta like, you just keep your mind focused, know what you're there for. I
yeah.
think that's a key part. It's just know that you're there to study.
Mm,
Know that you're not there to experience a party, or you're not
yeah.
there to just like float along. Like, you're there to study, you're there to get your degree and then see like the world around you. And I'd probably say that like, if you're excited and you're ready to go with this whole program of just like coming overseas, just grab it with open arms and just like
Mm,
run with it. Just grab it, hold on, and just don't let go, because it's
yeah.
really amazing.
Man, I love what you said. You said